Hello, I'm Cameron McCoy. My classmates Laura Malukas and Alex Harley and I are going to talk about how COVID-19 is affecting the mental health of college students, specifically here at Purdue University. SARS-CoV-2, more commonly known as COVID-19 or coronavirus, is the cause of an ongoing global pandemic that has changed daily life as we know it. According to an article from June of this year by the New York Times, in the 10 months that the pandemic has been going on, 1.2 million people have died, with 20% of those being in the US. Because of how contagious the virus is, the entire world, including our country, has been under various levels of quarantine for almost an entire year. The main goal of this quarantine is to limit the amount of interpersonal contact between people. This quarantine has come in the form of wearing masks, social distancing, and a massive shift to online activities. Businesses and schools alike have been switching to the online format. People around the world, including the US, have had to switch to a much more digital, much less social lifestyle. And this is taking a major toll on everyone's mental health. Today, we're going to talk about how it's affecting college students, and specifically how it's affecting their stress levels and their mental health here at Purdue University. Colleges have been faced with very difficult decisions regarding how to provide students with a proper education when it's potentially dangerous for students to interact with each other and with staff. Almost every school has opted to either shift completely to online learning or have a hybrid of online and in-person classes. Most classes have had their lectures over online video calls, most commonly on the Zoom or WebEx platforms. This has taken a huge toll on the mental health of students. In an article by the Daily Orange from last month, Katie Learn, a mental health counselor who specializes in trauma and anxiety, says that the increase in screen time and decrease in interpersonal contact has been linked to increased anxiety and depression among students. Fully online learning has also had an adverse effect on students' sleep schedules. Many students, myself included, have genuinely no reason to go to bed before 3 a.m. or get up before noon, since we have almost no live classes or any activities that we have to attend in person or even at a specific time. It's no surprise that such unbalanced sleep schedules also take a major toll on students' mental health. There are problems that are being faced by schools around the world. Now, let's talk about what's happening here at Purdue. Purdue is one of the few schools lucky enough to be able to stay open. This has been thanks to efforts from both staff and students in controlling the spread of COVID-19 on campus and having procedures in place that allow us to do this. But these efforts have involved greatly restricting interactions between students and staff alike, and that means that a lot of restrictions and prevention measures are in place. We're going to talk about what some of these restrictions and measures are and how they're affecting students' mental health.
So my name is Alex Harley, and I will be talking to you about how COVID-19 is increasing college students' stress levels. So I'm going to be talking to you about exercise and activities on campus. Many students are feeling very limited and overall depressed because they're unable to relieve their stress through exercise or social gatherings. Purdue has shut down pretty much every intramural and function, and students can sit at their desk all day, every day, and this isn't a healthy option. As stated in Times Magazine, early reports suggest that the pandemic is making Americans more sedentary than ever. We are seeing this firsthand at Purdue because so many students don't want to go work out at the co-rec because of mask requirements. It's extremely difficult to work out with a mask, and it's a hassle to schedule a specific workout time. Purdue is trying to do the best they can to keep the co-rec open, but these restrictions are making it hard for people who aren't as dedicated to the gym to go work out. As for functions and intramurals being shut down, the students are experiencing stress, anxiety, and depression. The University of Michigan medical team posted an article relating to the impact on mental health for college students. They claim that students are especially prone to feelings of loneliness, and they experience higher rates of anxiety and depression compared to the general population. It is also a support system and extracurricular activities at their school and organization and hobbies. This is what Michigan State University has stated. Michigan University. The overall damage of COVID is causing college students to have like trauma and stress, like I said, and impacting their students long term, both physically and mentally.
Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm going to continue to talk to you guys about how COVID-19 is constantly affecting students' mental health. Currently, Protect Purdue randomly selects students to get a COVID test done. The students receive an email and then they have to schedule a time to go into the T-REC. Of course, Protect Purdue thinks that they are having the best interest for the students because the goal of random testing is to keep track of the positive cases and make sure that everyone can stay on campus. However, I think random tests are harmful to the students' mental health because there's always a possibility that the student has to switch up their life in a quick second. First off, referring to the Protect Purdue website, the tests take 24 to 72 hours to go back to the recipient. If the tests are positive, Protect Purdue will call you within 24 hours, and then you will either have to go home or go to Purdue Village. Then you have to contact the people that you were direct contact with. That can be really nerve-wracking because then those people will most likely have to quarantine too. There was a study conducted at a major university in Texas in September 2020. They surveyed 195 students with specific questions on how the COVID-19 pandemic affected them. In the results of the study, the researchers discovered that 91% of the participants have a stressor of anxiety and mental health due to the fear and worry about their own health and the health of their loved ones. This goes to show that it can be mentally straining to constantly have to worry about what your COVID results are, because if you test positive, then you have to worry about the people that you have affected. During this difficult time, the stress of students is heightened even more because on top of their schoolwork, students have to start thinking about their future careers. That can put a toll on students' mental health because the future is even more uncertain. Purdue is doing their best of providing information about future careers during this time, but right now it might not be enough. As you can see the graph on the right from Brookings College, the unemployment rate is high for college students. This makes sense because we are at school, so not many people have jobs. But what I want you guys to look at are the ages 20 to 24 because that's when people are starting to graduate from college. Thankfully, the unemployment rate is decreasing by each month, but it's still not by much. Also, many college students have to go through the stress of switching majors because some majors can't easily adapt to working online. According to the Global Workplace Analytics, they say that 56% of the workforce can easily work online, but that means the other 44% are either essential workers or it's just harder to be online. So that means some students will have to go to college longer if they want to switch their major, which means they have to pay more. And so with these tough times with money, that can put more stress on a student's mental health.
So one of our solutions for COVID-19 at Purdue is a reading day, which was implemented on November 4th of 2020. This allowed students to have a one-day break and the ability to catch up on work because there was no fall break implemented into the fall semester. It's important to recognize that this was put into the schedule for a break, but was hardly used because it was optional. Professors had the option to assign work that day, making assignments due, or having class. While this is a good idea, many professors had already planned out their semester and planned on having class that day or an assignment due. Also, it's extremely hard to offer a one-day break in the middle of the week when students have lots of work to complete and lots of things to do. However, the committee who passed the one reading day wants to put more frequent breaks in future semesters so everyone can better plan for them as posted in the Purdue Exponent. So there's hope for more reading days, but as for now, we just had one. It wasn't really, I think, what they were going for, but at least we're moving in the right direction to have a little break for students who really need it with the stress and physical and mental stress of the pandemic.
A second solution that we came up with to help students' mental health at Purdue is to have a pass-fail option for all of the classes. As you can see on this slide, a pass-fail is a system of grading that uses pass or fail instead of using letter grades. When COVID first hit, some classes at Purdue gave their students the option to choose whether to do pass fail or stick with the letter grade. We believe that it is necessary for Purdue to change it to a pass fail option for every class because it would be more beneficial since the students can concentrate on the content of the class and not getting a specific letter grade. We decided to have it to be a pass-fail option because some students like to have letter grades and we don't want to take that away from them. Being at school during COVID can be super stressful, and along with the stressors that happen with school, there are also stressors that happen at your house. There's a student named Aaron Kosopin from UCLA, and the pass-fail option has removed stress from his life because he had additional family issues to deal with at home. So the pass-fail option really helped him a lot, and it allowed him to focus on his family life and also do well in school. It will also be easier for professors to figure out which students may fail earlier in the year so they could possibly reach out to those students for some extra help. College students are expected to reach out for help themselves and be independent, but during these stressful times, we don't think it would be that harmful if students received extra support. Referring to the Michigan Times, the hope of pass-fail option is also to help people to maintain higher GPAs or to help people raise their GPAs. In conclusion, changing our grading system to a pass-fail option for every class can be beneficial to everyone at Purdue and help them with their mental health.
So with all that being said, Purdue is doing what they can to accommodate for COVID, and no one really knows what they're doing. College students are overall really hurting from the pandemic, maybe more than any other population or a group of people in like dealing with the pandemic right now. Stress, anxiety, loneliness is more present in college students than ever. But as you can see, COVID is hurting college students in every angle. Students are having a hard time with physical and mental health, finding jobs, online learning, and being tested frequently. The stress created from the pandemic is harming academics without in-person classes. A lot of students just go online all day, every day, and you can just sit at your laptop, and it doesn't really give students the opportunity to interact and have that social interaction. So the pandemic has really caused people to just sit in their rooms and not be able to function as we normally would, obviously. So it's been really hard for most college students, but Purdue is doing everything they can and has been very outspoken about this issue. They were, if not the first, one of the first colleges to say we're going back in the fall when everything started, and have been really proactive with everything they're doing. The previous slide mentioned 2 solutions that could be vital to college students. If more reading days could be implemented and required, students could have a break once in a while because the reading days weren't required. The reading day wasn't required on November 4th. So that wasn't really a break for students, but it was also a last minute thing. So hopefully next semester they are willing to give this break. And also another solution could be changing the letter grades to pass fail. This could be very helpful for students who are struggling with their academics during this time, not being able to go to recitation, constantly being in quarantine, just not having that interaction that is really needed to be successful. But as for now, we can plan on protecting Purdue and hope that stress goes down for all college students.